Welcome to When Movies Met Movies, the podcast where we look at a past year in film to further understand the present. I'm Matthew,
I'm Jack.
I'm Dean.
and today we're discussing two survival films, one from 2012, The Grey, and one from 2026, directed by the legendary Sam Raimi. Send help. But before we get into that, how have you all been this week?
I've been good. I watched the Super Bowl. I have to admit, extremely boring game. We're
Agreed.
going to discuss some trailers in the news section, but there weren't that many trailers for Super Bowl to cover. It was really weird. And the game itself was just a bit boring. There were
Yep.
the Winter Olympics too. I saw some events from that. Missed the opening ceremony. Still need to
Same.
go back and see some highlights from that. But it was pretty cool, the events. I saw last weekend Titanic again in 40x 3D. I will say the first half definitely dragged a little bit. It was still good and some great moments, but the 3 hour and 15-minute runtime, I feel like it definitely could have been cut down a tiny bit in the first half, but that second half hit all the same. And I'm like, James Cameron, go back to making movies with scripts as good as this, okay? If not better. But it's a shame he's stuck in Avatar land. Hopefully his Hiroshima film is great and it gets made.
Don't have high expectations for that, but we shall see.
You never know.
We shall
You never
we
know.
shall see. I saw the latest. I catched up fully with Industry, and it got really, really good. Highly recommend. Season 2 kind of dragged a little bit, but they kind of brought it back in with seasons 3 and 4 and have learned that you have to keep elevating to keep your attention and really stay on top. So it's a fascinating show. I saw a movie on Thursday called Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, and it was fantastic. Huge recommend from me. It was hilarious. It was heartfelt. It was just everything I wanted from a film. It was made for cheap, but I don't know, it felt cheap intentionally. It's filmed with like perspectives of cameramen.
Matt Johnson's the champion of cheap movies.
Yes. Well, it's funny because their characters are their names in the movie. I didn't know that. But he was like, I'm Matt Johnson. And I was like, whoa. It caught me off guard. But oh my God, it was heartfelt. It was incredible. I loved it. Even there was this dude sitting next to me who the whole time had his arms crossed. And every time I would laugh, he would give me like a side eye glare and slightly turn his head. I have the worst fucking luck when it comes to people at the Alamo Draft House, South Lamar. Okay, the location, the staff, everything on that end is fantastic. No complaints, but man, I keep getting sit next to people who ruin it. I saw Wake Up Dad Man a few months ago. Well, half of it, because the people kept talking during the movie. It wasn't nonstop, but every time they would talk, I missed like pivotal information and I was confused. I still have not finished it to this day. Tell me I need to finish it. It will blow my mind.
You do.
Definitely. Hands
Mila
down.
Kunis sucked, though. I can confirm
Yeah,
that.
I can agree that.
Fucking terrible. And I
He was
wish it was a
alright.
little, I don't know. There were things I was hoping for. But Josh O'Connor in the first half is great. Anyways,
Yeah.
that to say, back to Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Fantastic movie. It is well worth checking out. I
Nice.
also saw two other movies, which I will not go into really at all because we are going to be doing it on the podcast. Next episode, we have Crime 101, and I have some thoughts about it. And I saw last night my fourth most anticipated movie of the year,
Oh my.
Oh
Wuthering
God.
Heights.
Oh my goodness.
Did the heights weather? Was there a lot of weathering in the heights?
Chewy, I won't spoil my opinion, but I will give a little bit because it's so far out. We're recording it. We have so many weeks.
Oh, only two.
Well, but I'll just say I am conflicted,
Oh wow.
and there was stuff I hated and stuff I loved.
Sounds right like an old Fennell movie.
Do
Very
not see it
diplomatic.
if you're a fan of the books, and doesn't have to even do with my review. I saw people rating it half a star, and they were like, I haven't even seen it, but I heard it's not like the book. And I'm like, don't review a movie you haven't seen, and also don't bomb a movie just because it's not like something else. The title literally has quotation marks around the title. There is a controversy with the casting of Heathcliff and his race,
Mhm.
but I will say the rest of the cast was very diverse, and the roles they had did not make them look bad. So I don't think it was an intended racism thing here. I don't know what happened. It was a little weird in that regard, but I'm not going to judge the movie based on that. But if you are going to see it on the best screen possible, because I'll say one thing: visually, one of the best looking movies ever made. So that's all my thought
Wow,
for
wow.
now. You'll have to learn more with Wuthering Heights. I don't even know what I'm gonna rate it. I'm still thinking about it. So we will get back to you. And Crime 101,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not recommending it to everyone. I don't want to spoil my thoughts on that.
Stay tuned next week.
Stay tuned next
Yes.
weekend. If you're interested at all, give it a shot and get back to us. So, anyways,
Dean, what have you been doing?
I have, had a pretty quiet week, at least in comparison to Jack. I too watched the Super Bowl, unfortunately, but it was on my friend's laggy stream where every once in a while it would freeze. So it was kind of like we were watching modern art. We were just staring at this still image projected on the wall. And then, the Bad Bunny halftime performance was very stellar, though. I loved it so
oh,
much.
the props, the sets were great.
Yes.
It was a very high budget.
And it was, so energetic. It had such a great liveliness.
Mhm.
I was so hyped at the end with all the flags. I love
Wish I could
flags.
understand it, but, it's still a great performance.
Yeah, yeah. His songs are top 5 global on Spotify. Shout out to Bad Bunny. Maybe he's a podcast listener.
We wish.
Oh, man. But other than that, like Jack, I too have been watching some of the Winter Olympics competitions. Not all of them.
Did you see the bobsleds where they literally, like, fell
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh my, I think I saw a clip.
yeah.
like, they couldn't
Team
even get in?
USA.
Yeah, it's a dangerous sport.
Did you guys see the crash?
What crashed?
I don't
In the
think so.
bobsled or the
No, skiing.
Oh, Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah, Lindsey Vonn.
I did. It was very sad.
Very sad,
It
oh,
yeah.
America, not the best luck so far with the high
Mhm.
profile competitions.
yeah,
That figure skater who fell a bunch of times, very
Yeah.
unfortunate. And the
yeah,
Japanese benefited. They got 2nd and 3rd.
They always do well, so it's not
yeah.
That's true.
shocking.
Also, a lot of good snowboarders. In terms of movies I have seen recently, I did see one banger at the River Oaks Theater.
Wuthering Heights? I'm just sorry,
Unfortunately
sorry.
not. Quote, unquote, "Wuthering Heights." I have yet to see, quote, unquote, "Wuthering Heights." But I did see It Was Just an Accident.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Jafar Panahi, Best International Feature nominee, though it should have been nominated for much more, in my opinion. I really love this movie, and I was very surprised at points. Is bleakly funny, great portrait of life under authoritarian rule, where you see, like a guy in an unmarked white van, and then your mind just starts wandering. But going back to the humor, there are certain moments which felt like something out of slapstick comedy, or maybe not slapstick, like a farce, a road trip movie, like It's a Mad, 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 Mad World or something. Because, not to spoil it too much, but the movie follows this guy in a bus, and there is something else in the bus, and he wants to show people what's in the bus, and his group slowly grows over the course of the movie. So it's interesting in that way. Some great performances, but especially at the ending, very, very bleak and intense with its subject matter, about torture and all these traumas, but still better than Sentimental Value.
Ah, boo.
I agree, and I haven't even seen it.
Every week, every week.
Did you see the Criterion cover for Sentimental Value?
It did? It
It
looks like
looked
a
so
video game
bad.
or something.
Actually, there is a story to that.
I know, I
Oh,
heard the guy is, like, a renowned it's a big deal.
Yes, and he was inspired by the cover, and then there's also gonna be, like, really cool interior art that's similar to his, like, comics that he
Mhm.
does, so
I
oh,
don't know,
nice.
something was lost in translation.
as a massive sentimental value fan, I will be picking up.
As a massive I can't even say a hater because the performances and the cinematography are stunning. No hate to anyone in the movie.
I'm a
You
hater.
know, I
Wow. Bro, you both gave
But
it a
so you're
7.
happy about the No, I didn't, I gave it a 6, and that's a generous 6 because the performances were that good. Was not great. But anyways, my point is with the cover, even I feel bad for the movie.
Yeah, unfortunately, I will not be picking it up, but I'm curious to see what the inside art is like.
Yeah, for
Sorry,
sure.
Matthew, one last chance to say your piece with sentimental value because we keep hating on it.
Well, it's gotten a lot of awards already for a reason, so might as well check it out. Okay, on that topic, I'll let you guys know what I've been doing, which is yeah, I watched the Super Bowl as well. Well, here and there mostly because I was watching it on a totally legal stream. I didn't really care much about the game because the Seahawks are just
Yeah,
embarrassing the Patriots, but
yeah,
I was
yeah.
looking forward to one specific reveal, which is what I've been mostly focused on this
Oh,
week, which is the Cadillac livery reveal.
I
I
didn't
forgot
even
about
notice
that.
I was looking out for it because you
Looks
mentioned
pretty
it before and I
cool.
didn't even know where it was.
It was, like, pretty late.
White, black, and silver, and it's asymmetrical, which is like really unique. The last time someone
Huh.
did that was in like early 2000 with British American Racing, owned by the tobacco company, British American. But this time it's
Wow.
it's an American company doing it, so very cool. They had like silver on the reveal, but the actual car doesn't seem to have it, which is a bit worrying. Maybe they'll add it when race comes, but for now
Hmm.
that it's just white and black, which is unfortunate. But anyways, there was also the McLaren and Aston Martin reveals, and they look exactly the same. I was waiting on that Aston stream for like 3 hours, and the stream crashed like 3 times, and they restarted it 3 times. And yeah, very bad sign for Aston because it was also the first week of testing, and yeah, obviously Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren all looked really good. Williams was doing okay for a late entrant. Haas, the other American team, was doing really well, but Aston Martin, they hired the best guy that designs F1 cars, and they're 4 seconds off the pace because their engine is garbage. And
Wow.
yeah, 4 seconds is a lot. That's like 3 laps if you go through the entire race. Not looking good for Fernando Alonso, two-time world champion. No win 33 for him. So sad.
Yeah, what a shame. That leads us into the first news story of the day that Matthew wants to
Academy Award Best Picture nominated movie F1 is apparently getting a sequel, according to Sherry Buckheimer. And yeah, it's just sequel news. We all kind of thought this movie was mid, even
Yep.
as a massive F1 fan. I think that made it worse, honestly. But
Yeah, meh. What is there to say?
I don't know. I liked it. It wasn't great. It had so much more potential. I feel like if 40 minutes were cut or trimmed, it would be a much better
hmm
movie. I loved everyone in it and I loved the filming of the races, but I feel like it could have used a little more energy. But it was realistic, I
yeah,
guess, but they kept using the safety cars and I don't know how.
lots of cheating, which I mean, like isn't far off, but that was too far even for F1.
Well, I'll be excited when they announce Tom Cruise Days of Thunder entering F1 too. That
Oh,
will
that'd be
that will
fun,
bring me in the
honestly.
seats in 40X.
They should call it F2 and just
What?
move down.
F2.
Move down?
Yeah, they could have more
Uh,
crashes and it'd be
oh
realistic.
god. Colton Herta, American Driver cameo. He'll be in F1 by the time that movie enters production, though. So maybe not.
Okay, we're gonna be entering the Super Bowl trailers, which are not that many.
Yeah.
I think besides Minions, that's the only one I can think of that we're not explicitly
Yeah.
covering. I
Yep.
think that was
Yep.
it. It's so bizarre, and I guess a Michael TV spot, but the trailer released earlier, so that doesn't. Anyways,
Yeah.
the first thing is at least what I put when I recorded the first episode. My fifth most anticipated film of the year, Project Hail Mary, released its final trailer, and I guess I'll start with my thoughts. I am a bit underwhelmed by this trailer. It was not bad at all. There's nothing bad about it, but it has made me a little worried about this movie. I do like that it seemed like they were not spoiling the whole movie, and I do appreciate that if there are a ton of twists that aren't in this ad campaign, that they are protecting that. I totally love that.
Yeah.
It's refreshing to see a film not having everything spoiled, even by a final trailer. But there's two things to me that I'm really annoyed at. And number one is that it felt like two-thirds of this trailer was the exact same footage. Not even different shots from the same scenes, but the exact same clips used again. Okay? I hope Sandra Hüller has a way bigger role than this trailer indicates. But my main two worries, number one, they announced an early release with IMAX 70mm, and that's great for those people who can go to a theater like that. But that isn't even including dual laser 1.43 theaters. It's so few and far between. And it didn't even include all of the IMAX 70mm theaters. And it's so early, a whole week or two in advance, that I feel like if the trailers don't spoil the movie, these people are going to spoil the movie for me now. So I'm kind of pissed about that. And the other thing is, I liked what I saw of the relationship between him and Rocky, but I could be completely wrong, and I will happily bite my words. I'm starting to worry that the inside buzz of this movie is gonna be overhyped because, oh, this Rocky creature is so cute. And it looked good, but I need more than that for me from this movie if it is gonna match what I wanted to put it as, in my top 5 most anticipated films of the year. So I'm still excited to see it, but this marketing campaign, again, maybe did a great job with secrecy, but terrible in terms of getting me excited to watch this movie. I'm not saying it was bad, but what are y'all's thoughts?
Great illustration of silica-based life forms. But I think that's the extent of my thoughts, really. It's typical Lord and Miller, very quippy, lighthearted, fair, but I don't know. I guess for some reason I was expecting a little more serious of a tone, but I don't know why that was my expectation.
I mean, it was there, like it wasn't absent, it wasn't goofy overload, but it looked fine to me.
It's a little goofy.
Yeah, I agree. And that's fine if it's scattered throughout, but even Interstellar had goofy-ish moments at times when it
Yeah,
worked.
meh.
Honestly, I am the opposite of you guys. I think this made me more excited for the movie, honestly, because
Hmm.
funny banter between characters is what Lord and Miller do really well. So this gave me a lot of that, and I think I kind of got more of the vibe of what this movie was going to be based on this, rather than like from previous trailers. And I see why they chose these two to direct this movie. I'm excited.
Okay, so the next Super Bowl trailer we have is David Fincher's The Adventures of Cliff Booth, a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, focusing on Brad Pitt's further adventures. What did y'all think of the trailer?
I thought it looked pretty cool, but it did look kind of tame. But like way they censored everything was like really funny.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Even the smoking, like god damn it, Netflix. You don't have to censor his fucking smoking. But regardless, yeah, it has that Tarantino sense of style, but also felt like Fight Club in a way, which I haven't really felt from a Fincher movie since I don't know, honestly, since a very long time to say the least. Because the killer did not give that vibe, and neither did Mank. So, but I'm cautiously optimistic for this movie, and apparently Tarantino is on set too, like for the
Oh,
entire
wow.
thing.
So he basically co-directed it.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding,
basically.
maybe. I don't know how that works, but kind of. He influenced it throughout. He didn't let anything slide, I
Mhm.
guess. Which I find interesting. The man keeps trying to cheat around his number of films role, and it's becoming pretentious. I get the original intent,
Yeah.
but you're now hiring another director with just to act as your
Yeah.
stand-in and maybe add some creativity. I'm not saying it won't feel like David Fincher at all, but I just find it honestly embarrassing. It's like a joke at this point. Like, what are you doing?
The whole point of him doing it is so that he doesn't get too old, so that he doesn't end up like Billy Wilder.
But now he is.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, what's the point of waiting for 10 movies if you're gonna, like, just wait until you're 70 or 80?
Dude, at this point, no one cares because when you finalize the 10 movies, if you ever do, people are gonna say, "Well, you didn't direct 10 movies, you were literally on the set with David Fincher, like, breathing on his neck the whole time." For so anyways, I thought the trailer was decent. I didn't love it, but I thought the cinematography looked kinda bad, and it's not a
Yeah,
Mhm.
digital thing, it
I
is more
agree.
so just how it was filmed because David Fincher has made some great digital looking movies, and that's not necessarily the final verdict of if something looks good, but it just I don't know. I liked seeing Elizabeth Debicki pop up. I hope she has more of a role. You
Yeah,
know, and I
yeah,
like Brad Pitt. I'll watch it for sure, but I'm not
yeah,
pumped.
Yeah.
yeah, it seemed very Netflixified.
Yeah.
Not just all the censorings, which is really great, but, just the overall vibe for me.
Well, I mean, there is a reason why. Everything Fincher did with Mindhunters
Yeah.
and House of Cards, like, that's the entire formula for Netflix. So, like, obviously, if they're gonna copy off of David Fincher, like, a new David Fincher is gonna look like that because, like, everything is based off of what David Fincher did. So,
That's true.
that's the reason why it looks the way it does.
It's not Netflixified, it's Fincher.
Exactly.
What a shame.
Yeah, I don't have faith in him anymore, but I
Me
hope he
neither.
proves me wrong.
You guys haven't even seen Killer, though, or The Killer. I like
True,
that
but
a
I saw
lot.
enough. I should check it out at some point, but
Same.
it looked fine. Yeah, I don't think he's made any of the films he's released have been bad. He still is a good director, but maybe temporarily, but he has lost his magic
Yeah.
besides pacing. But besides that, he had magic. And I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we
We
They
shall
shall
didn't even
see.
see.
have a release date, so I don't know if this is late year, if they're gonna just shadow drop this, you know.
It's not even on the official Netflix YouTube channel.
It's weird. I thought they were
Yeah.
gonna release it after the game. Like, they
Yeah,
were gonna do a Cloverfield Paradox, but with a decent movie.
exactly.
That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, that would've been fun. They should've done that.
Well, anyways,
Dean's most anticipated movie. Big game
Yes.
spot.
Yeah.
Disclosure day. Dean, start us off.
So, we don't really learn too much new with this big game spot, but it was nice to see Coleman Domingo very briefly. I thought it was a good trailer. I honestly, the cinematography is kind of growing on me for some reason. It
yeah.
did not look as bland as the cinematography in the first trailer did.
I mean, that's the thing with Kaminsky movies.
Yeah. I don't know. I have seen enough. It remains my top anticipated film.
Did you also see the Spielberg spot that they also put out?
No.
It's just him, like, narrating over the trailer, and, like, there's nothing really new. He just says, "I've always been interested in UFOs. People always have been interested in UFOs, blah, blah, blah." But I thought it kinda added to the vibe to it. Like, it adds to that hidden immigrant story that I
Yeah.
think he's trying to tell, and about them, like, trying to reveal themselves to the world, and, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm more excited for the movie than I was, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I wanna see that. Honestly, that would've been cool to see, like, in the Super Bowl itself.
I'm kind of mixed on it. I like the tone more. Like, it definitely felt more like that poster that was originally released of the Eye, but it kind of got me more worried cinematography-wise, special effect-wise. Maybe it's not complete, but the scene where their car is going into the train, I thought looked really bad, so I'm gonna hope that's an unfinished
Mhm.
effect, but I don't know why they would put it in the TV spot.
That's fair.
UFO at the end, need to rewatch Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Read
Yep.
some it's not sure if they're accurate at all, that kinda showed that this might literally be connected.
It didn't look the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it in so long.
I love that movie. Probably my top 5 Spielberg.
it's great.
I don't think so. And also, like, in that movie, the aliens are grays, while here they look like humans, so
Well,
Yeah,
but it could be that they're, like, experiments the aliens did. They might not be the aliens themselves. Like, they might be alien-human hybrids
maybe.
type
We
thing. I
shall
don't we
see.
have to see the movie.
we shall
But
see.
I don't know. We shall see. Matthew, do you wanna tell us about our final new news story?
It's kinda old at this point, but we forgot to mention it because we had so much to talk about in terms of news last week. But, yeah, this is pretty big news. Bob Iger is stepping down in favor of former parks director Josh D'Amaro. And guys, this is not looking good for Disney, man. This guy cut a lot of jobs at Disney World and Disneyland. He was on Team Iger to make those parks more IP based, so that'll probably translate into movie based. He was also the guy to push Disney into Fortnite. And you know what Disney Fortnite had? AI Darth Vader that said the N word, so
Oh god.
yeah.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
there's also this like interesting LinkedIn post, kind of semi-related, in that there's a guy that was hired to work on a major Hollywood film that people speculate to be Moana, and they generated a ChatGPT image and gave it to him, and was told to make it different, but then they got legal pass to be able to use that ChatGPT image directly. So yeah, Disney investing in open AI stuff.
I mean, I guess I get the Sora stuff, but I draw the line when you're using it instead of animators or
Yeah,
creators in actual films. You know, it's one thing when people claim, "Oh, we're using it as a tool or we're using it to advance," that's one thing, but then it's another where
yeah,
like that's terrible what you
yeah.
just said about
It's
that
ridiculous.
little story here.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not gonna jump to like this guy's gonna be worse than Bob Chapek, but I feel like I'm seeing signs that this could be a trend where Bob Iger does a terrible job at knowing who to trust with successors. Because I don't know. We'll see.
And the reason why he was hired was he brought in a lot of money to Disney parks, so that's not really good sign.
Yeah. Disney kind of seems like it's already going downhill, at least in terms of their recent releases. So par for the course.
I think it's time to move on to the old news. So first off, in terms of old news, Saoirse Ronan is in negotiations to star in Disney's Order of the Seven, which is originally supposed to be a Snow White project. Well, this didn't end up getting made. And instead, years and years and years later, last year, in fact, we got uh,
Oof.
a movie called Snow White.
A movie that I'm pretty sure they made 3 or 4 years before it came.
Yeah. I also included this because last week we kind of were talking about Snow White and the Huntsman. So they didn't really get on this Snow White train until last year. And
Well, did they though? Because they kind of failed. I think they fell.
yeah.
It's like the bobsledders in the Olympics. They kind of failed to get on the Snow White train. They fell off before it even took off.
I think the grifters would have been happier with Sir Sharonan, but that was the least of the problems with whatever that
Yeah,
movie was. Uh,
doomed from the start.
Denis Villeneuve's Snow White.
Oh god.
Francis Lawrence was apparently originally attached to this project. I forgot who ended up doing Snow White again.
Oh, the
I
guy
have
who did
no.
Amazing Spider-Man, Mark Webb.
Oh, oh
Oh,
yeah, Mark Webb. Oh, speaking of, he has a movie coming up. I was gonna
oh
say
wow.
this for later, but last week in 2012, right after the Super Bowl, there was a 3D trailer for The Amazing Spider-Man that came out in 13 theaters across the globe, and a lot of people were hyped on it. And this is a movie that we shall be looking forward to covering uh,
Hmm.
sometime soon.
Unfortunately, we will not
uh,
be watching it in 3D.
I don't think it's possible to watch this unless you have a 3D TV. Because I don't think they're gonna re-release this movie ever again. Because it wasn't the best, but we'll save our thoughts when we get to the movie.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, it was an exciting time to see this reboot come to pass. I would have been 10 when this trailer dropped, but Yeah, the edginess of this new Spider-Man was kinda exciting at the time. I'm sure nine-year-old Dean would have been
Mhm.
hella on board with this based on your thoughts on Chronicle.
Yeah, I remember really loving this movie. I think I saw it in theaters, but yeah, we shall see.
I was not a fan when I watched this movie.
Wow.
Emma Stone was great.
I mean, Emma Stone's great in everything. She's great in Malcolm in the Middle.
Well, we will talk about it later this year because of
Yeah.
the we will be talking about Amazing Spider-Man later this year.
A brief follow-up to some SAG-AFTRA news. There were some protests on this merger that was approved, and there are a lot of concerns about how SAG-AFTRA kind of reduces the authority of SAG and AFTRA as separate entities, and I feel like that kind of came to pass because they kind of backtracked on their stance on AI use, and now AI actors are going to be used in potentially upcoming movies, which is, sad to hear. But we shall see how AI and the entertainment industry holds. But based on what we've said with the Moana thing and these voice actors coming in and replacing actual
Mhm.
after actors, this is a bit sad.
Yeah,
And these people might have been right to not want this merger.
yeah.
Next bit of news is Disney is potentially imposing a 28-day wait on DVD rentals. This was after announcing that their entertainment division was down. It seems that Disney had to learn that lesson again a couple years ago when they stopped releasing movies on streaming and went for a 90-day window. If there's one thing that Disney's doing right, it's definitely this right, guys.
Yeah, say what you will about Disney, but they're no Netflix.
Yeah, they know when to release movies in theaters. Maybe not how to advertise one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we shall see when it comes on the Disney Plus. I am all for theaters. I'm all for theatrical releases and wait times. Do I think Mandalorian and Grogu specifically looks like it belongs straight to streaming? Yes, but give these films the ones that are great. Executives can't be the ones to decide that. The people have to decide.
Yeah.
For the ones that are great, it's a good thing that it draws them into theaters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's still free revenue if you release it in theaters instead of straight to streaming. Well, not free per se, but it's extra money that you wouldn't have gotten if you just stuck it straight on streaming.
It is kinda quaint to see a whole news article devoted to DVD rentals.
Yeah.
That's still a thing, or Redbox for that matter. RIP Redbox.
RP Redbox. We talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yep, yep.
I didn't know how much Redbox stays on your mind, Dean.
I love Redbox. I would often patronize my local Redbox. Yeah, but this is not a Redbox episode, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, let us know. I don't know what
Yeah.
that would even entail. What
What would we even talk about?
I don't
Anyways.
know. Redbox.
Well,
Like one of those,
it's
blockbuster nostalgia movies is gonna get made, but for Redbox.
oh my god. That would be so funny. Maybe you should be the one to make that.
Yeah, I'll get writing.
One last chunk of news. We were talking about Super Bowl 26. Now it's time for Super Bowl 2012. In this Super Bowl, they released a lot more trailers. Where this year was, they released a trailer for John Carter, which is coming out in March. Yeah, we'll talk about how that ended up
Unfortunately, but we will.
soon.
That based on how In the Blink of an Eye looks and based on what I know about John Carter, if you want us to have a extreme rant of an episode, stay tuned for that and potentially the Mandalorian and Grogu
Yeah.
Yep.
episodes.
Well, and there's also a spot for the Avengers, which we did not get this year. Disney is probably focused on Mando and Grogu right now.
They're too far out, but
Yeah.
I am surprised the Spider-Man wasn't. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm a little I kind of don't want them to show much if it is going to be good, but I want one good trailer, like release one good trailer and some TV spots.
There's also a trailer for Battleship. Oh god.
Woo!
It's another Taylor Kish masterpiece.
Produced by Michael Bay. Oh god. What was this movie, man? $50 million in marketing too. Oh my god. ended up bad movie. Bad.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it is terrible, terrible, terrible. Why did they make a board game about battleships into an alien invasion movie that's has glory moments to the Japanese Navy? We will never know.
Oh boy. He's just remaking Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, yeah. There's also a trailer for Dr. Seuss adaptation that we did not get this year for Cat in the Hat. But yeah, there was a Lorax Super Bowl spot featuring the voice of Danny DeVito. Have you guys seen this movie?
No.
Really? Lorax?
No?
No.
Sadly.
Really? Wow,
Mm.
I think I've seen this twice.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
Wow.
god. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Also, like in 20 or 2016 when like all the memes about the Lorax. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Oh, wait, the Lorax?
Yeah, the
I misheard. I think
Lorax.
I misheard. Oh, the animated one?
Yeah, the animated one.
Oh, I didn't know Danny DeVito was even in that. That's why I didn't. No, I've
Oh,
seen it. The Lorax?
yeah,
Yeah, sorry, I
he is the
misheard.
Lorax himself.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yep.
That's funny. No, that movie, I don't know. It was cringe, but I feel like it was creative.
Yeah, also had Taylor Swift in it. I forgot about that.
It was fun.
Oh,
I don't know.
jeez.
It's a fun kids movie. It's stupid in a fun way.
Older redhead next door.
Oh, that was so bad in the best way.
Mr. O'Hare delivery guy.
Play it again, Sam. Anyway.
Let it grow. Let it grow. Anyways.
In my youth, I saw many memes that were like the Lorax.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was talking about.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, I forgot who played Mr. O'Hare.
That was great. Whoever did. Iconic. How bad can I be?
Oh, oh my god. Also,
So-
I don't frequent Tumblr, but there's also a Tumblr fiction about the Onceler dating an older version of the Once. Maybe we'll talk about it when
Dude, the new Cat in the Hat
Cat
movie
in the
is gonna
Hat,
have a
yeah.
thing at the end. The Lorax will return.
The Lorax will return.
When you say it like that, it's like ominous. It's the
Yes.
new threat in Avengers Secret Wars, the Lorax. He's trying
Yeah.
to gather the stones to save the trees.
There we go. Very good.
Apparently Mr. O'Hare was voiced by some guy named Rob Rigler.
Oh, sounds like Dirk Diggler.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Ed Helms was the Onceler. And last trailer was for The Dictator. Have you guys seen this?
Nope.
I haven't seen this.
No.
Well, maybe we'll talk about it, maybe we won't. Probably not.
It's funny timing because I follow this reaction channel and they had a poll of like what movie should we watch next, and it had The Dictator on it randomly. So I might have.
Maybe it's a sign to cover it.
I know, maybe. Who knows?
We shall see.
Yeah.
We'll definitely do John Carter and the Avengers. Well, moving on to the main meat of the episode, as always. First off, we'll start off with The Gray, directed by Joe Carnahan, who also directed a movie that I forgot to mention I did watch this week called The Rip. I'll talk about it a bit later, but yeah, this is produced by Ridley and Tony Scott. This is their second time doing this for a Joe Carnahan movie, as well as second movie with Liam Neeson. All four of them did The A-Team together, which was a movie that kind of flopped. But this was initially imagined as a movie with Bradley Cooper, but
Oh.
Liam Neeson is an old reliable survivor kind of guy, so kind of had to go with Liam Neeson.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first with my thoughts, which, you couldn't have said it better. You kind of have to go with Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Honestly, this movie surprised me immensely, and it surprised me immensely because I thought it was stellar and very well shot and very well directed. All of these things which I did not expect from a movie called The Gray, released January, starring Liam Neeson. I expected, just to kind of be your basic meat and potatoes Liam Neeson action film where, he punches out some wolves and mutters some things in an Irish accent.
Maybe save his daughter.
Yeah, yeah. And, there is a lot of that. There is a lot of him moping around, being all melancholy. And
Mhm.
there is, fortunately, a lot of wolf punching or wolf fighting. But this movie is so much more than that. I thought it was honestly kind of daring exploration of mortality and the different ways we deal with that. And it was so much more than just a survival thriller.
Mhm.
Yeah, I originally thought it was just Liam Neeson, but it's also a group of other plane crash survivors with whom he has to trek through the icy wilderness. And so that adds a whole new element. I don't want to make this comparison too much, but it's kind of like The Wages of Fear or Sorcerer.
Mm.
Maybe I am not alone in this, but there's the oil field parallel where they're both oil workers, and then they're both going on this tightrope walking journey where on either side of them lies death. And you just see how different characters deal with that. And beyond all that, it's just a really well made movie with a great atmosphere and honestly pretty well shot with obviously all the shades of gray. It's very drab in a good way, and I think maybe the one drawback I had was just that some of the scenes linger too much or that it kinda drags, but not to spoil it too much, but there were some scenes that where it lingered a lot that I really loved, and we'll get into it in the spoiler
Mhm.
section. But I would give this movie an 8 out of 10, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I'll move on to my thoughts as well. I thought this movie was fantastic. I was not expecting much. I thought this was gonna be like Taken, but in the snow with
Yep.
just Liam
Yeah.
Neeson. But honestly, like the whole crew is what made this movie and how deeply nihilistic this movie is as well. I think there's a lot of pressing aspects to the movie that
Mhm.
doesn't just say a lot about like life in general, but like specifically about working in this corporate environment where you can't really do anything, you're just stuck in a rut. And it's something that gives more life than being stuck in that lifestyle. And yeah, that's a theme
Mm.
that the movie explores in a really powerful way, I must say.
Yeah.
I think the way that it handles conversations between these characters is really fantastic. It's just guys talking about guy stuff, but also life in general. And I think that's what Carnahan does really well. Is also he does this kind of well in the Rip too, not really, but he handles conversations between people really well in a really still way that it just lets the dialogue between the characters speak for itself, and
Mhm.
that's what I really loved about the movie. I think the action was actually a bit on the weaker side in my opinion, but I think it was intentional on the part of the film where they had a lot of shaky cams whenever the wolves showed up to obscure them, and I think that works well in this case for this movie, but I'll talk about this more later, but I think the Rip kinda shows the weakness in that filming style, but anyways, staying on track for this movie, it's not just Liam Neeson being great. It was also Frank Grillo delivering really annoying type of guy performance, but in a really engaging kind of way that makes you kind of see the push and pull between Liam Neeson and Frank Grillo
Yeah.
between those characters, and the other actors were great as well. I don't really know who they are, but I thought Flannery's character was really good. The way he was talking about his I guess this goes into spoilers, but he's the guy with the glasses. He was also really good in the movie.
Yeah.
And this movie just knows how to use its cast as well
Mhm.
as shoot these gray environments in a really chilling and awful way that reflects the viewpoints of these characters and where they are in life. And I think
Yeah.
that's what makes this movie teetering between a 7 or 8. I think I'm gonna push toward the 8.
I'll go last. I disagree with y'all. I would not say this movie's bad. There wasn't anything bad about this movie, except maybe some scenes lingered and the shaky cam with the wolves. But I thought this movie was very forgettable to me. Everything was just acceptable. Like, they all felt human, which was good, but I didn't get to know enough about any single one of them, in my opinion. I don't remember any of their names. None of them stood out to me.
Not even Diaz?
No, none of them
Or
stood out to me as
Flannery,
fully developed.
or
Yeah.
I don't
Henrik.
even know who you're talking about. I don't remember their names at all. Like, they were so forgettable. They acted like humans, don't get me wrong, like, it felt natural, their dialogue, and they were all well acted. It just was not deep enough from a script level. This is like an hour and a half, maybe close to 2-hour movie. I forgot to look up the
1
runtime
hour
again.
50-ish.
But it didn't fly by, it didn't feel like forever either. It felt exactly the length that it was. Some shots looked nice, but then you got to the wolves and it looked bad. So that's all over the place. I liked, I'm not going to spoil it, the ending scene before the very end, where let's just say there's a wallet and he's looking through it or looking
Mhm.
through them. And I really liked that.
Yeah,
But
Mhm.
I
yeah,
feel like I wanted more of that. I don't know. It was well directed. It wasn't amazing direction. It didn't super elevate the script, but it didn't lower the script either. It was just fine. I don't have much to say. I thought this was a very forgettable and not even bad, but just forgettable movie that was fine in every aspect. Again, I can't even blame y'all for giving a high score. Clearly, it connected with y'all on a higher emotional and engagement level. I'm sad to say it didn't at all for me, but I can't even say like, "Oh, that was bad," or something was. So, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. It was not for me, but because Dean and Matthew are praising it so much, and again, I don't have anything bad to contradict it too much, listen to them, give it a shot on streaming.
Mhm.
yeah.
I
No,
hope you don't feel like I did, but I just can't give it in my heart to give it anything other than a 5 out of 10. I felt nothing. I was a little bored when watching it, not extremely, but I wasn't locked in. And
mm,
I don't know. It was a standard survival thriller with realistic but poorly developed characters. That's all I have to say for now.
Alright. Well, I'm sorry that you felt this way, but I think we're gonna go a bit deeper into this movie if you don't mind.
I might not even know what you're talking about with half of it. I literally forgot, like, it did not stick with me. So,
no.
it's happened in the past, but this
Yeah.
especially, I might mishear something and say something that doesn't make sense. I saw the movie, I swear to God, but it did not stick with me to that level, and it was a while ago because we were gonna do this earlier and we changed plans, so I saw this movie weeks ago, and it didn't stick with me, so I saw it, I swear, but I might not even know what y'all are even talking about at some points.
Alright, okay.
So,
There's
Well,
just
much
a
to talk
disclaimer.
about.
yeah, there's a lot to
Yeah,
talk about, and
I
yeah,
didn't think so, but let's see. Y'all lead the discussion.
first up, what do you think about the first kinda action thing, the plane crash? I thought the lead up to it was pretty good with how each character was, like, talking to each other in the background while
yeah,
Liam Neeson's character was just kind of reminiscing his wife and going more and more in depth into his sorrow about his wife. And Crash itself kind of reminded me of a certain other movie that we watched. We'll talk about that one later. But this one was much more realistic, shall we say. And
yeah,
I think honestly the best part was when the plane crashed and then he was still dreaming about his wife, but then there's like a match cut or something like that. I'm not quite sure exactly, but it was like a really cool transition from him
yeah.
like waking up from his dream
Mhm.
into the reality that he had to face.
Yeah, and I think that was what struck me most about that scene was the amazing transitions, which are, like slippage from the dream world into the real world, which I thought were really well done. Not just the one that Matthew mentioned, but also before that, he's dreaming about just cuddling with his wife in bed, and then the plane experiences some really heavy turbulence, and the scene where he and his wife are in bed lingers so much, and then we suddenly are jerked out of it when
Mhm.
he's jerked out of it. And maybe it was a little much of the movie before the plane crash is just him moping around and
Mhm.
writing long, forlorn letters to his dead wife, like a Paul Schrader character or something, like writing in his little diary. But yeah, I think just because of those aspects, it was kind of a cut above your run-of-the-mill plane crash scene,
Yeah.
which we might talk about later.
Mm, we'll see about that. Do you wanna add anything, Jack?
Unfortunately, no.
Alright, yeah. I think next up is when they initially crash, right? I thought that scene had a lot of build up and team building that was necessary for the rest of the movie.
Mhm,
You
mhm,
especially got to learn what Diaz was like and how he
yeah,
was kind of confrontational with Liam Neeson.
mhm. Yeah, I like there's a part to where there's, like, a guy who's bleeding out, and Liam you can kinda see that Liam Neeson's, like, been through this before with his
Mhm.
wife, and all the other guys just kinda stop and look at him, like, kind of puncturing, the way it was before that, where,
Yeah.
it was, like, all these macho men saying, like, "What the fuck? We were in a plane crash."
Well, at this point, we don't know that Liam Neeson's wife is we just think that she, like, separated from him, you know?
That is true.
Yeah.
Which is kinda why, like, the beginning was so ridiculous where I mean, this itself is not ridiculous, but the way it was shot where he, at the very beginning, put barrel of a rifle in his mouth and, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a very, typical.
Like a lonely man with
Yeah.
no reason to blame but himself, but we learn
Mhm.
that he is not that kind of man later on and
Mhm.
throughout the
Mhm.
movie as well. And I think
Yeah.
what this scene does, especially at the end when he, like, collects the wallets, is, like, he does care for, like, all these people and, like, you wonder why his wife separated from him throughout the movie until
Mhm.
we get to the reveal that his wife was actually dead, not divorced from him, and I think that reveal is kind of powerful because you realize this guy's been, like, suffering in silence the entire time while letting others speak their sorrows, you know?
Mhm. Mhm. And, there's a lot of loud yapping, especially from Diaz, who, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's the only one of the survivors who's, like, not married or has kids.
Yeah.
I guess we don't know much about Burke, the
Mm.
black guy,
No,
but,
he had a child that died. Or no, he had a sister that died, sorry. Yeah.
I see. But Diaz, he's just kinda this typical lout, like, boasting about his encounters with, like, hookers and
Mhm.
stuff, and getting in bar fights. We see that he got in a bar fight at the beginning.
Yeah.
So, it establishes at the beginning this really great ensemble, I thought
Mm.
at least. Um,
One guy that we didn't talk about was Target. I thought he was kinda like the rock to this group of survivors
yeah,
in terms of a human element to it because Liam
mhm,
Neeson had that, like, competency, but he didn't really show much emotion,
mhm,
which did help the group, but, like, Talga was there to, like, make sure everyone was fine, and he was the reason why they were able to, like, have, like, normal conversations. He complained a lot too, but he wasn't, like, anti-Otway like Diaz was, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. He kinda feels like the adult in the room,
Yeah,
even though,
exactly.
Liam Neeson is also the adult, but he's just
He's like the
kinda
mom.
there you go.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that, but it's making perfect sense now.
Yeah,
It's like mama duck.
yeah.
Anyway, and then the wolves get there,
Mhm.
which is a big thing, and is also something I thought that was pretty clever with the script was just, like, obviously, there's this pack of men who all have these, like, in-group dynamics where they're all, like,
Mhm.
fighting with each other, or like there are clear leaders like Liam Neeson or Diaz. And then at the same time, we kind of get that with the wolf pack,
Yeah.
over the course of the movie. So I thought that was like pretty smart.
We barely see them, and I think the reason is that they didn't wanna, CGI a bunch of wolves, which might be to the film's benefit, unlike
No.
a certain
Hmm.
other film that we're gonna talk about soon.
Oof.
Oh, anyways, I think hiding the wolves was a really good decision, like,
Hmm.
with hiding them in shaky cam allows you to, like, not really know they're just like a shape that, like, assaults you in the middle of this gray winter, and
Hmm. Mhm.
That just makes them even more scary than just if they were, like, seen throughout the movie as from
Mhm.
close up.
It does well with what it has, like, some pretty cool shots with the glowing eyes of the different
Mhm.
wolves, which are, like, really creepy in the dark, howling winter.
Oh, the sound design too, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Really adds to that, like, open middle of
Mhm.
nowhere feel, even though, like, they did get to, like, a logging site, but they weren't close enough, unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah, it was just so bleak, like you said earlier, just, having a howling in your ear. I don't know if I'd make it.
Yeah, I would probably get killed like Flannery,
Mhm.
honestly.
Yep.
Uh,
Poor Flannery.
yeah, he got eaten up because he was too slow and his leg was yeah.
What a shame.
What a
What a
shame.
shame.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we didn't talk about Burke. He also felt like a warm presence that unfortunately didn't last long in the forest.
Mhm. It's so bleak. They all get picked off one by one, which I
Yeah.
guess is accurate to, how it would actually work if a wolf pack is stalking you. It's like the most strategic thing, but, it
Mhm.
also kind of feels like a group of old men, like an old friend group whose friends are
Yeah.
dying one by one.
Mhm.
That hit pretty hard.
Especially in, like, a oil rig environment, which I think is the
Mm,
reason why that
yeah.
environment was chosen. I do feel like it's a commentary on blue collar work in general and maybe capitalism as a whole? Question mark? Maybe I'm reaching there, but
No, I think that's so valid, honestly. It's maybe a little stupid to, like, say the exact phrase "dog eat dog," uh, like the dog eat dog.
like the Paul Schrader movie.
There you go. Jack is not a fan of Paul Schrader, so, that's
No, that's unfair. I liked
Mishima.
yes, I liked most of that.
but they have some really good conversations about how they've just kind of been or Diaz specifically, I thought his whole arc was really great and kinda showing
Mm,
how the nature of his work has kind of hollowed him out, and, like, his whole workday is like a mess, so he just goes home and gets drunk all night, and the cycle repeats itself. And in this way, undergoing this journey, he's kinda able to snap out of that, which is
in a
great.
very sad way, because like, he's on his deathbed, and then he introduces himself by his first name, which makes him even
Mhm.
more sad, and makes you even more sad that you realize, like, these guys who are so opposed to each other have the same name, John.
It really hit hard, that moment. And it's just so beautifully shot, I think,
Mhm.
because it's toward the end of the movie and, he, like, is really tired and on his last legs, so he just sits down by the side of a river, with, a nice babbling water sound effects, looking
Yeah.
out into the distance over these beautiful mountains and the woods and everything. He's like, "I just wanna stay here." For the first time in my life, I feel, like, connected to the environment, or he says something like that. And then, the movie, like, lets us or it, like, really lingers in that scene.
Mhm.
Felt, like, excruciatingly long to me. It was, like,
Yeah, but
30
in a
seconds.
good way.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, maybe not, like, good as in it was fun to watch, but it was, like, good for the movie to have that.
Yeah, but it was not, like, devoid of suspense. I mean, I guess you're right, like, the action was just kinda meh,
Yeah. I think
but
the strength is, like, the human relations between the characters, you know?
uh-huh.
Yeah, it kinda turned into a Michael Bay movie whenever the wolves attacked. I liked that they went for the gut. I like that they had the balls to kill off these people, just the deaths weren't really super graphic, nor I mean, I felt bad because they were human, but I wasn't like, "Oh, no," I wasn't, like,
Really?
Hmm.
into it. Yeah. You
I
know
thought
why?
some of them were, like, really haunting,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, Talga when he's, like,
Mhm.
remembering about his daughter reaching out, and then, like, he just gets eaten by these wolves
Yeah.
instead of having, like, a powerful, death. And, like,
Yeah.
I do like that Michael Bay aspect because, like, it does hide the wolves, and, like, this
Mm.
movie, I feel like, is more interesting in the nihilistic aspect than the wolf aspects.
Well, it kinda needed to, it was made for cheap. I'm not saying they made the wrong choice, because if they didn't do that with their budget, it could have looked way worse.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you could tell it was a cheap-ish movie to make.
Mhm.
They had to, like, create ways to, keep the wolves looking somewhat real by not showing them
Yeah,
directly too much.
and, like, it's not just the wolves that are the threat, obviously, it's also the cold and the
Yeah.
exposure to these elements, and I really liked the scene where they're, like, crossing the ravine
Yeah.
over this tiny a bunch of clothes tied together, and then Talget he's the guy with glasses, right?
Yeah.
I really like that whole thing where he's afraid of heights, and then he can't help himself from looking down, and then his glasses fall off, and it's, like,
Mhm.
really suspenseful. My palms started sweating during that scene. And then the guy who drowned too, I thought that was, like, horrible.
Yeah, Henrik. I was so upset that Otway is upset with him because, like, it wasn't his fault, like, he was
Yeah.
just stuck on rocks, but, like, obviously Liam Nee or, like, Otway would think that because, like, he can't see
Yeah.
that his leg is stuck, so, like, it's just sad.
And
Mhm.
literally, his face was, like, right below the water, like,
Yeah.
he was literally, like, looking up, and it was, like, maybe just a
Mhm.
couple of inches of water separating
Yeah.
life and death. That one really got me. And then Ollie was just kinda complaining the whole time about how he was yelling, "Save your breath. Hold your
Mhm.
breath." I think they even, kissed.
Yeah, CPR, CPR.
Yeah.
It's like kissing, dude, it's CPR.
It felt like a kiss.
No.
It was very, very
Ugh.
intimate. And then after that is the scene with the wallets, which I also really
Yeah.
liked, that Jack pointed to.
Yeah, the wallet scene was like I feel like it was Liam Neeson taking one last look at all of these guys that won't be remembered anymore because there's no one to tell their stories, no one to, you know that they survived because
Yeah.
he has all their wallets, obviously, but like it would have been hard to like recover those wallets anyway. So
Yeah.
that, but like no one knows their story. They're just like
Mhm,
lost in this eternal storm of
mhm,
time, and
mhm.
it's just such a sad worldview, but I
Yeah.
think this movie shows that worldview of, like, nihilism in a really
Mhm.
powerful way.
Yeah, and it permeates the whole movie, the nihilism. Like, there's so many stunning shots where it's just, like, a blank white screen, and then there's these tiny dots going across the landscape, and it felt very nihilistic, like,
Mhm.
we're alone in the universe type situation.
Yeah.
And then also the wallets, I thought that was deeply sad just because, like, I don't know, maybe it's a stretch, but wallets are, like, such a capitalist thing.
Mm,
It's like
maybe.
being reduced to this symbol of a worker who's only valuable for,
Yeah.
their credit cards or whatever.
I don't know, I saw it more as their IDs.
No, I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah, it is, but I
Yeah, yeah, I guess it's true, but it was kinda interesting with, like, I think the theme of religion was just kinda under discussed.
Oh, yes.
Maybe I was kinda biased because I was also comparing this movie with the Martin Scorsese movie Silence the whole
Mhm.
time.
which I still need to watch.
You gotta see it. It's
Yeah.
better than this movie, a high bar.
Well, I would imagine, based on how you praised it, I'm like, it can't be the same.
Also starring Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
But, there's this one scene where he's staring into the gray sky, like, asking God to give him a
Oh,
sign,
oh
uh,
my god.
but nothing happens. Very
Oh,
bleak.
it's kind of weirdly funny, but also very sad.
Yeah.
I didn't see what was funny about that. It was sad.
It's just like, in a black humor kind of way, like, it's just
Mhm.
nothing happens when you ask God.
Well, what was supposed to happen? That would have been the same as, like, the rain and War Horse and Promised Land. Like, it's like, it would have been bad.
That's what would happen in, like, a less powerful movie is that he just survives because he prays to God, but it's not that type of movie.
Well, speaking of, with the post credit though, does he survive because he prayed to God? So
Honestly, I don't think he survives. Maybe it's just
he was
me.
breathing. I don't know if he was about to die.
He's probably gonna die.
Yeah.
He is alive at that point, but I
Mhm.
think he died in the end.
But he killed the wolf, I
Yeah.
think, which is what
He became
matters.
the alpha.
He died doing what he loves.
Yeah,
Yeah, killing
he
wolves.
died doing what he loves.
Ugh.
I thought it would've been kind of funny in that scene when he was looking up at the sky if, like, a tree fell on him or something. Maybe that's too
Oh,
far.
that's too far. I think nothing happening is, like, the point of the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
He had to find his own way to, find this, and he found his own way to his own death, so,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
Very sad movie, very nihilistic,
Yeah.
which is what makes the movie great.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely much more than your standard Liam Neeson.
Fair.
So, yeah, I definitely think this counts as one of those, like, quote, unquote, "hidden gems"
Mhm.
of 2012 that we have uncovered.
Definitely.
Sorry to be the podcast Grinch as always. Or not always, but often. I don't wanna be. I'm just I don't know, maybe it will be for some people, and that's great. I disagree respectfully.
That's
Fair
fair.
enough. But before we move on, I need to talk briefly about the riff, man. Because what the hell, man? Okay, there was like some of the moments that he had in the grit, because like he does depict these like human relations in like a way that is really nice. But also, oh my god, that final act was awful. The action, which was more of a focus, and that was just as bad as in the gray, but in the gray, at least like that wasn't really the main focus, even though that was the selling point. But
Mhm.
the relationship between Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, I think like has a good back and forth between it. But then, oh my god,
Well, that's kind of a given, like, they were childhood best friends in real life, like, you have all these movies like Good Will Hunting. If you want a movie where they interact with each other, you can watch Air.
well, I would say this is a better Ben Affleck, Matt Damon buddy movie than Air, I would say, even though Air is like a lot better. But point what I was trying to make was that like it just takes so many twists and turns that just feels like he's trying to do something that he's not good at, like he's good at
Hmm.
like just raw human emotions, but in the rip, he's trying to do all this magic trickery and then revealing, "Oh, I was actually the bad guy. Oh, no, actually, he was the bad guy. No, actually, he was also the bad guy." And,
They were all the bad guys.
well, no, they were not all the bad guys,
I
but
don't know, I haven't seen it, I'm just
there's a guy, pretty major guy
There
that
is a
seems like the
man.
bad guy, but it turns out he's not actually a bad guy. And unlike The Gray, which uses its flashbacks tastefully, this uses flashbacks in such a cringe way, like in the same way as Blade Runner 2049. But that movie is like a lot better, so I can excuse those aspects. But it's like the worst part of Blade Runner 2049 was like that flashback when Ryan Gosling like fake remembers like Deckard's daughter, but that's a whole different movie anyway. But like in the rip, it's like, oh, you remember this guy tricking this guy in this way? Oh, here's how he did that. And that's why you have to flash back, because you have to reveal what he all did instead of like, getting that implication of him tricking. And I think that's part of the Netflix thing. But also based on
Oh
how
god.
Carnahan uses flashbacks, I feel like it was also kind of on him. But there is, like, a small aspect of Carnahan that does make it through. Well, I mean, it is still his own script and movie, but, like, the good of Carnahan that makes it through, and that's, like besides the human relationships, I think there's, like, a lot of interesting cross-cutting in The Rip, especially in the final act, that does work in a way that the rest of the movie, unfortunately, does not. So, those are my thoughts on The Rip and how it compares to The Gray.
it sounds like a fart as the title, like, The Rip.
Honestly, I was thinking that they're
It's so
ripping cash. I think that's what the title means.
there
They're
you go.
ripping off better movies.
I don't say it's ripping off anything. It's just not good. It's just well, I would say it was a 6 out of 10 until the final
Okay,
act. Then it becomes a 4 out of 10. But overall, it's like a 5 out of 10. So,
good dad movie.
Air was a good
Mm.
dad movie. This was a
Oh,
bad movie.
oh no, not even a good dad movie.
No.
What a shame.
All right. Well, after a bit of a rant on the rip, next up, we're talking about this year's movie, Send Help, directed by the legendary Sam Raimi. Not written by Sam Raimi, is produced by him though, and it stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien of the Maze Runner fame. It's shot by Bill Pope and with a score by Danny Elfman. This was initially going to be a Sony movie, but Sony thought it should go straight to streaming, which is not good for their bank account because this movie made a decent amount of money at the box office.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
will our opinions match those box office reactions? We shall see. Starting with me, I thought is pretty solid movie. Honestly, the first 10 minutes, I was cringing so hard at McAdams' character. But after they got onto the island, after they got rid of the uglifying makeup on McAdams, I think from there it became a stronger and stronger movie. And when you realize that, yeah, I'm not gonna try to spoil the movie, but there's things that McAdams's character does that just makes the movie more fun in contrast to Dylan O'Brien's character. And I think the way those two like bounce off of each other is like a really funny cat and mouse game throughout that I just found really entertaining, and um but yeah, I think I have deeper thoughts to go into this when I get to spoilers, but yeah, Rachel McAdams was really strong as this complex character that, went through a lot of things that makes you kind of, feel a different way to her than you initially think. And Orion's character also like kind of makes himself more human in a way that makes you understand him, but also not, fully sympathetic to him, which makes that cat and mouse aspect really, fun to watch on screen. And there's some parts that are unbelievable to say the least, but I think it makes up for those unbelievable moments with Sam Raimi moments. There's like especially one moment towards the end, like not quite the third act, but almost there, that was like just straight Raimi, Raimi's directing. And I feel like I want to talk more about this movie, but it'll just go into spoilers, so I'll leave it when we get to the discussion. Overall, I think I'll go with probably like a 7 out of 10.
Well, not bad, not bad.
What about you, Dean?
I guess it was alright. I agree with you wholeheartedly that Before the Island was
Yeah.
just very cringy and just not made me question my watching decisions. But, I think after that, basic premise where she's very frumpy and unrealistically so, just kind of made to be little, I guess,
Yeah.
like her last name. It does pick up. I do really like Rachel McAdams in this role, showing off her range,
Mhm.
and she commits, which is always a pleasure to see from an actress, who seems like she's been underused in things
Mhm.
like Doctor Strange or whatever. Even though she's great in Spotlight. And then I also love Dylan O'Brien, even though the only other things I've seen him in are the Maze Runner movies. And I guess Deepwater Horizon, another oil worker movie. If we're talking about parallels, he has a very small role in that. But yeah, no, just continuing to talk about positives. I did think they had great chemistry, maybe not in the conventional sense, but in a weird way. And I just love Dylan O'Brien's facial expressions. He's he's very good at those. And as the movie progresses, it gets better. But I don't know. I think I just kind of didn't really feel strongly about the script, or I guess for that matter, the directing. The lighting was kind of bland, and it wasn't like. I guess it kind of felt like it was like holding itself back. Maybe that's not what I'm going for, but like
I think that's an apt way to describe it.
could have like gone more gonzo or
Yeah.
like harder. But it
Yeah.
just I just had my expectations too high.
No,
Other
you
than
didn't.
that,
You didn't. Well, maybe because his past films, have either of you seen Drag Me to Hell?
I've seen one clip, which is really crazy. Maybe it's a spoiler. Yeah, that's basically it. I also didn't really care for the ending. It's like, oh yeah, that's how this would end. Predictable. Yada yada yada. Anyway, final rating probably a 6 out of 10. But I do want to see his other movies. Just it has not dimmed his reputation in my eyes. So we'll see.
It's important to note that it's not written by him, so there is
Yes.
that. There's
Was Drag Me
that.
to Hell written by him either, though? I don't think he wrote that.
No, he did write Drag Me to Hell. I mean, like, a lot of his
Oh, he
projects
did.
he writes himself, so, like,
Hmm.
this was more of a pickup.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of the director of Beasts of the Southern Wild. He needs to go back to directing his own scripts.
There you
It's the
go.
opposite.
You wanna
Yeah.
go deeper into your thoughts?
Okay. I have one great thing to say about this movie, and that is Rachel McAdams. She is fantastic. If there's any reason to see this movie, it is purely because of her, in my opinion. And she does a great job in this movie, and I thought her character script was decent in regards to her. You know, they got her right. I think, for the most part, until some things in the third act, which were egregious. But besides that, like, I really enjoyed her the whole way, and she was the one thing keeping, or at least trying to keep me engaged with the movie. Love her. She needs to be in more films. Nolan Villeneuve, pick her up,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Fantastic. She's great, okay?
Mhm.
Dylan O'Brien was fine. I hated his character, and not in a love to hate way. I just found him really annoying the
That's
whole
fair.
time, even the end. But in my opinion, everything else was really bad. The script was terrible for the most part. Again, besides her character, it meandered for a large chunk in the middle. In my opinion, there were some gruesome moments, but I was very disappointed. I can't believe critics are saying, like, Sam Raimi is back. He made Drag Me to Hell, which was PG-13 and felt like an R-rated film. So this film was rated R, and I was, like, excited to see. This film feels like a low PG-13 to me. Like, this did not, I don't know, I guess there was a moment, but, like,
No, lots of blood.
I guess, kind of, in, like, one scene, but it
There's,
wasn't,
like, a
like, that
couple of
much.
scenes where, yeah, it gets
No, there
bloody.
was vomit and stuff, but not blood until the end, but it didn't make up for what came before, and it felt like if you took, I get why it was rated R because of it, but if you took it out, you wouldn't have missed, you didn't have to remove that much of the movie for this to then
Mm.
turn into a low PG-13, is my point. It didn't feel R throughout, you know?
Mm.
I wanted,
Yeah,
like,
that's
in your
fair.
Yeah.
faceness, the and the ending was trash. The opening, I agree it's the worst part of the movie, but it almost also was the best because it was the most unique. It made me think we were heading somewhere else. Like, they
Mm.
started off with some directorial creativities, like with the tuna, and I thought, "Oh, this is a tease for, like, oh, it's gonna go insane once we get the plane crash and we go on the island." Trippy and intense directing that Sam Raimi really is great at, but once we get to the island, it gets better besides that, but it doesn't feel like a Sam Raimi movie.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it has a unique directorial identity for the most part. I wanted way more gore. It's not that's all I wanted, but it was just, I don't know, it was a lot. I thought the visual effects when it got gory at the very end looked bad. I was very disappointed. I got bored. And again, I feel like a lot of the raves are just because of the name Sam Raimi and because of Rachel McAdams, who is excellent in this movie, even when they try to butcher her character for no reason.
Mhm.
Which we will talk about in spoilers. I think it should have been a horror comedy with the initial premise, and instead of, them crashing on an island, maybe, her getting revenge in this corporate world and her becoming a psycho. I didn't like them stuck on the island because Dylan O'Brien was not engaging enough for me. But it was the script's fault, so I don't know. I'm gonna
Mm.
give it a generous 4 out of 10. It would be
Ooh.
much lower if it wasn't for McAdams.
Wow.
Wow.
I wanted to like it. I was the one who was like, "We should do this movie," and I was so like, "What the fuck?" His Oz film was worse, but even that was way more
I think that was
entertaining.
written by him
That
too.
was worse, but
Oh,
it was, like,
wow.
more entertaining. It at least was more creative. It was more unique.
Yeah.
I was wondering whether someone would bring that movie up.
Like, at least it was creative. This was just, it lacked an identity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
Yeah. I would say it was not a Sam Raimi film, but it felt more like a touch of Sam Raimi than, like, full on Sam Raimi.
which you can't do with a premise this simple and us knowing what he can do. It's stupid. I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Like, who wants
Mhm.
that? Rachel McAdams did great, but she'd be even better if they went like that route. Like, I don't know. I'm like, ugh.
I feel like we're kinda dancing around spoilers, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go into spoilers, okay? And I want to start with let's start with the beginning.
Okay.
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 Like I said, I agree that it was the worst part of the movie, the first 15, 20 minutes before the plane crash. But it also was the best because it had potential of like, this is going to go crazy. Like it was setting things up that didn't lead anywhere. And I was like, this is going to go crazy. And it's teasing like the build up. And I found it interesting how it's like she keeps getting screwed over, you know, and her weird introvert identity and like the survivor video. It had a good potential even if it was a slow start,
Mhm.
and it
Mhm.
had with the tuna some Sam Raimi-isms that I thought were gonna be exploded later
Yeah.
on and just never were. That was the most Sam Raimi feeling part of this movie until the very, very end.
He does love his corporate offices.
Yeah, I did love that. I
Yeah.
mean, we never know what they do. What's it called? It's like Preston
Preston
Strategic.
Preston Sturgis?
Oh, like the name of the company. What was it?
Oh.
It was just some really
It's a
generic thing.
consulting it is a
Yeah.
consulting company.
Yeah, I guess, the staging of it was kinda nice, but I don't know, I didn't we spent too much time there, even though it was not that much.
Oh, I
Yeah.
agree.
McAdams there was, like, kinda, I don't know, unlikable, I guess.
Yeah, I think they tried too hard
Well,
to
I don't
make
think she
Yeah,
was
her
it
into
unlikable. The people
just,
were
like,
assholes.
socially.
well, yeah, everyone was assholes, but, like, it tried to build some sort of sympathy toward her, and it was, like, a bit hard to do with the way she acted in
I
some
mean, I
ways.
agree, but I also
Like, a bit
disagree.
too
I think it was
crunchy.
overblown. Like,
Yeah,
she was socially awkward, but I thought they did that part right. Like, she was socially awkward, but she was likable. She was outgoing, and these people were very like, it was also
Mm,
almost like a social hierarchy, like, they didn't give her a chance.
true, but, like, it also felt like she couldn't read social cues, and, like, it kinda
No, but the
felt
social cues
understandable.
were just, "We don't wanna give you a chance, fuck off." That was the social cues, so, like,
I don't
I
know.
it wasn't fair
That
to
is a
her.
social cue, though, like,
It
if
is, but
you
it wasn't fair, like, what's she supposed to do? Just shut up and not I mean, I guess so.
well, like, if you're not invited to some event, you shouldn't force yourself to, like, go on that event. That just made her, like, kinda cringe, you know?
It did, but at the same time, I'm like, she really like, the people were assholes too. I didn't think it was like something of like, "Oh, no one likes her because of how she is." It was, "No one likes her because no one likes her." They don't need a reason. They just decide not to like and that happens in real life, even if this was an over the top version.
I don't know, it kinda gives, like, a clear reason why they don't like her.
Yeah. It was like, "Let's laugh at her." I don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Oh, I think that's why I didn't like it, because it felt like the movie kinda wanted to laugh at her at the same time.
Yeah,
But, like, by the
Yeah, I
time they
agree.
understandable.
get into the plane, like, it feels like you're more sympathetic because like, she's doing something, like, she's passionate about, but they continue to laugh at her. Like, I think that's what makes the movie click
Yeah.
is, like, when it's about them making fun of her and not the movie making fun of her.
Mhm.
Well, I
Yeah,
thought they were making fun of her for the most part, even at the office.
No, I mean, like, the movie was also making fun of her, which kinda
yeah.
did not make the first
I
act.
didn't like that. It was
Yeah.
kinda
Mhm.
but it was minimal. It was like a mix. It
Eh.
wasn't good. It just was
Mm.
I made me hopeful for better things that never came.
That's fair.
Well, I guess we should jump into the thing that I thought was better, but clearly you guys didn't. I think it starts out with the plane sequence. Like, I think at that moment it stops laughing at her and starts like building more and more sympathy towards her, which I think the movie, I think, yeah, like I said, I liked that. It became more about sympathizing with her at that point in the movie. And then when the plane, like, having turbulence and then having that engine, like, get destroyed, like, you suddenly, like, see that she's not being, selfish for the company, she's trying to help out the company while, like, everyone else is, like, selfish, and then you see the consequences of that, and that's, like, ultimate Sam Raimi is, like, people facing what they deserve,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
them, like, boasting about not wearing a seatbelt, and then immediately falling out and, like, begging her to, "Please, please, give me the seat."
I felt like it was coming
Blitzing
for all of them from the
and
first second of the movie, though. I disagree. I see what you mean about them being antagonistic towards her a little bit, but I also think it wasn't just saying, "Oh, she's such a weirdo." I mean, it was showing how, like, she's, like, trapped in that cycle, like, there's no way to prove herself otherwise.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the movie doesn't show that, I'm just saying that, like, it fully leans towards sympathy at that moment instead of, like, making fun of her also throughout, like, the first 10 minutes.
I don't know. I'm just repeating myself now, but I'm saying I felt sympathy towards her the entire time. It wasn't a
Yeah.
switch up for me when she got to
Mm,
the plane. I guess in terms of her luck,
yeah.
that was a switch
yeah,
up. Like, she had bad luck and then it turned in her favor.
Mm. I guess. But no,
yeah,
I did like it's standard like office
yeah,
German. Like him throwing away her name and like that was like standard asshole and comeuppance
Yeah.
behavior that was there.
yeah.
But like also
It
she
was
acted like
satisfying.
so cringe that you kind of understand why they don't like her in the first place, which I don't really like.
Yeah, I get it. You could see how she entered that cycle,
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
but it's like everyone deserves a second chance, and they were so
Yeah,
Well,
evil.
and they
yeah.
were
That's why I didn't
evil.
like Dylan O'Brien at all, any part of the movie. Like, it was evil.
Yeah, and also he was kind of annoying, even though,
Yeah,
he's a
and
great
annoying.
actor,
Yeah.
and he sold it well, I thought.
Yeah, that's why I liked his performance, was that he played that, like, spoiled trust fund kid perfectly.
I guess, but I don't think he elevated it into a place where it was like you were fascinated. To me, I wasn't fascinated by his
Mm,
assholeness. I just was annoyed. I wanted him to die.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, by the end of the movie, they try to get us on his side.
mm.
Yeah.
I'm still was not, even though they made me hate her, they didn't make me like him. It just turned into a thing where I was rooting for no one by the 3rd act.
Mm.
Honestly, same. I think part of another thing that I'm just not realizing kinda rubbed me the wrong way, weirdly, was just that, like, the Survivor audition and everything, even though yeah, and I guess it is, like, her passion. I don't know, auditioning for a reality TV show, I guess, is not, maybe something I would place on the level of, like, a passion, like, I don't know.
She clearly learned all those tricks.
Yeah, but, like, which one was, like, in service of the other? I don't know if I, like
Mm.
Well, she was watching reruns of Survivor. Like, she clearly
Yeah,
loved the show so much, she was, like, rewatching the season.
and then also acting out the show.
if the show never existed, then, like, she wouldn't have, like, learned all these.
Well, then it would've just been, that other show, Naked and Afraid.
Oh god. I would've liked that a lot more.
They had the R rating. It could've gone there. That would've made more sense too, why they would be making fun of her at least a little bit. But Survivor, it's like, "What, you wanna be a
Well,
survivor?
I
Like,
like, the
haha,
video is
so
kinda
funny."
cringe, but, like
Yeah, but it
Mm,
was funny.
yeah, I know, it was funny.
yeah. Yeah, I
But not
guess.
in the way they were laughing at it. Like, it was like
Course
it
not.
felt self-aware.
Yeah, it felt
Mhm,
charming, and that's why I liked that moment instead of what they were doing before, making her, just cringe outright. Like, this is,
mm,
like, charming kinda cringe, And I guess what I was trying to say earlier was, like, why does it matter, like, that her hobby is Survivor? Like, that's just her hobby, and other movies also are like, "Oh, this guy happened to be an archer, so what if the movie wasn't about him being an archer?" Like, that's just the point of the movie?
like, if there was someone whose whole hobby was, like, trying to get on The Bachelor, then I don't think I would, like, sympathize with them too much.
Well, I don't think that was her whole hobby, that was the hobby they were showing, and that had to do with the plot.
Well, like, what else did she have? Maybe
Yeah,
I missed something.
exactly, like, she's in this office where they're making fun of her no matter what she does.
I guess it's true, yeah.
Why can't you be obsessed with the show? Like, it's her choice, her life, and, like
Hey, and
Yeah.
give respect to Survivor. The creator of White Lotus was in Survivor, okay?
well,
I
also
wish he made this movie, it would've been a lot better.
that's my point.
Or if he wrote and
Oh,
made it.
okay, let me try to finish what I'm saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Anyways, yeah, like, people train their entire lives for, like, American Ninja Warrior or, like,
That's
train
true.
for
Yeah.
American Ninja Warrior, like what's wrong with someone training for Survivor, And like, that feels like a weird hill to like be annoyed at.
I don't know. I guess for some reason Survivor feels different to me. It's like less than the others. Maybe that's just a personal
What?
prejudice.
That's just a bias.
Yeah, this is
It's realistic.
Yeah. Go ahead. We should move on.
Dylan O'Brien, I think, while you guys didn't see any necessary full sympathy for him, I think that was the point, was that he was like this guy that had, these traumatic experiences, but like he was still an asshole. And I think that's the point where these two, this like psycho and this asshole were like stuck. So like you weren't really cheering him on per se. I think the fun comes from like seeing who outsmarts who, and you don't really care that one wins over the other because they're both kind of shit. And I think that's what makes it fun, is that it's like Tom and Jerry, Tom and Jerry, like neither of them are like fully good people, but it's fun to see them chase each other because like it's just fun to see one person win over the other. And I think that's kind of like Survivor, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
it's,
That's
it's
true.
basically Survivor, like they're not really fully sympathetic, but like you just want to see them compete, and that's what makes the show entertaining. And I think that's kind of the thing with Send Help, is that these are like survivors on the show Survivor, and then like it's just fun to see them go back and forth and back and forth.
well, for you, and I see where you're coming from because I often completely agree with what you're saying with these types of things. Euphoria, well, no, they have likable characters. Better example, White Lotus. There's some likable characters, but there's so many asshole characters, and I don't care. I love every minute they're being assholes to each other, right? There are many shows and movies where I'm like, industry, like all these things where I'm like, I have no one to root for. I love watching all of them, and I don't know why, but this film, to me, I think it was his blandness a little bit, that I didn't think he was assholish enough. Like, he was still an asshole, but he tried to not be an asshole, but he couldn't
I don't
escape
know.
him being an asshole. I wanted them to up each other more,
Yeah,
Mm,
and
I don't
I
know.
felt
I
I
feel like
agree.
if they made him too much of an asshole, then you would just root for Rachel McAdams like wholeheartedly. But because he was like, an asshole with a reason, in a semi, and not entirely realistic way, but not in like a super cartoonish way. I mean, it's a bit cartoonish, but like, if what I'm trying to say is that if they went too far, then like you wouldn't support Dylan O'Brien at all. But because like of the level of asshole he is in the movie, like he's the perfect amount where like you're fine with him beating Rachel McAdams while at the same time hating him. You know.
no, I wasn't fine with him beating Rachel McAdams. I didn't ever, like, find him that interesting. I think that's my thing. He was so
Mhm.
shallow, and I at first, intentional, totally get it. That's why I liked the beginning more, because I thought potential, but then it never, I don't know, he kinda just stayed one-dimensional. He didn't really, I don't know, like, there were changes, but he wasn't.
I mean, isn't that kind of the point though of him not changing, and that's why like Rachel McAdams traps him
But
and
he
feeds him the
did change,
octopus?
he just
Oh
didn't change
god,
enough.
that
That he was
scene,
bland. He was bland to me. Not his performance, but the script.
that was a rough
And there's only
scene.
so much someone can do, you know?
Oh, oh my god. Oh, my balls. Oh, hurt when I think
That was
about
a
that
good
scene.
scene where she cut the rat instead of the balls, but I wanted more of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fair
yeah,
enough.
same. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree that like Raimi was held back, and I think it's because like he couldn't think of these scenarios by himself because like he was beholden to the was on the page that
Yeah.
these writers initially
Yeah.
had. But I think there's like 3 or 4 sequences that he had input over that I think did feel really Raimi-esque that I liked a lot. The first one was like, and like besides the office stuff, which is obviously like, Daily Beagle-esque. But like besides that, like when Dylan O'Brien's character is like waiting for water, it just like pans from his face and then cuts back to his face waiting and waiting and waiting, and he just gets looks worse and worse and worse every time. And
I
that felt
liked
like,
that.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
classic
good.
Raimi.
Yeah. I think that was my favorite bit.
And then like when they're on the cliff, that felt straight out of like Spider-Man 2. When like with that fake looking sunset, that felt, cartoonish in a weird way. And that I think there's like a dolly effect there. lots of dollies in this movie that you don't really notice too much, but it is, like, there that does make it more Raimi-esque in a way.
I didn't like that because it didn't fit the movie because he didn't go full Raimi. It felt weird whenever he did,
Yeah,
and it was like he went full Raimi in the wrong ways.
Hmm.
It was the wrong Raiminess for me.
yeah, it just made me wish it was, like, a different movie
Hmm.
or, like, I could be watching Drag Me to Hell or something.
Which is way more R-rated than this, even though it's PG-13. I don't understand. I guess they don't show it as much, but it's like they do more at the same time.
I do feel like the semi-cartoonishness. I don't know how to describe the characters. They're like not entirely realistic, but not entirely cartoons. But I know you guys don't like the character work, but I think because of the characters, it does feel natural to the movie because they're inherently not that realistic. Because like, who's like a bird lady? Like I know there's cat ladies, but like bird
There are
ladies,
bird ladies. I had a great
I don't know.
grandma who was a bird lady, so don't say
Okay.
they don't exist.
I don't know, but like a really, I don't know, awkward fantasy type of bird lady, I guess, is kind of like what she's depicting. And yeah,
Mhm.
Dylan.
Hey, it's a recreation of Rio with the lizard and
Yeah,
the lady. Or the bird. Oh, that was a bird too, it wasn't a lizard. Sorry, I don't know why I said lizard. I thought it was a lizard for some it was a bird in Rio
the
too.
the
It's a
blue
it connects even more. The big blue.
What I was trying to say was that Dylan Bryan feels like this cartoonish capitalist, a trust fund kid, I guess,
Mhm.
specifically in that manner, which I think fits with few Raimi moments that this movie has. And I'll get into those themes a little bit later, but like I think that's why the zoom lens works, and I think that transition to the ending. I know you guys don't like the ending as well, but I thought like that like cartoonishness of the ending like really helped the ending out and made it like,
Mm,
you know, fun in like a kind of
mm-mm.
evil way.
Ugh.
Hmm.
No, I thought the ending was atrocious. I thought it was like a 1 out of 10
Yeah.
ending. It was
Yeah,
terrible. It felt rushed, like they just slapped it on at the end. Like it felt like they originally probably ended it on the island with the killing, but then they were like, "Oh, well, we have to have a happy ending," but it's not happy.
SNL sketch ending.
Well, is it really happy that like the psycho lady is like out there in the world
No,
and
it's not, but I mean, like, good
she
for her. You know what I
It
mean?
wasn't satisfying for me. Like, I kinda wanted both of them to die. Maybe it was just because I had watched The Grey.
Okay, my point was that kind of like goes into the themes of the movie where it's like this is like a cycle of capitalism and like she slowly
Oh.
realizes that she can't turn him over, so she has to become the
Mm,
capitalist in the situation. And that's why I think for me the ending works is because she becomes the asshole herself. And
mm.
yeah, in the end, like it's a cycle that repeats itself and I like that a lot.
That felt forced for me. Like, why would she become the asshole? That doesn't make it makes sense on the island to him. It doesn't make sense for her character. But to be fair, there were a lot of things in the 3rd act that didn't make any
Well,
sense.
throughout the movie, like, she constantly talks about how she needs to be more assertive, more, out there while still being kinda kind, but you realize, like, as the movie goes on, there's, like, no way of turning this asshole that can't learn from his lessons into, like, a good person, so, you know what? Like, she gives up at a certain point and becomes more like him, and I think there is, like, a gradual build up.
But it didn't work. It's cynical without any depth. It's just like people are assholes and will continue to be assholes. And it's just I'm sick of it. I'm fine with an ending like that if it's done well. But it didn't work well in this movie.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, I get it's about capitalism, but come on, just because it's about capitalism doesn't make it good, okay? But with The Gray, I could see what you're saying, how they made it good. But with this, I'm like, it wasn't good. I don't care if it was about capitalism. You have to make it
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It wasn't.
Hmm.
It was terrible to me.
Good concept, poor execution,
I
maybe.
don't know. Like, I think the tone throughout was like not entirely serious, which is why the way they did things worked for me. And like, I think for the tone of the movie, like that ending works well, in my opinion. Of course, like obviously you guys don't share that opinion, but for me, like there's like an inherent cartoon goofiness that these characters aren't entirely real. That makes simple lessons fine. Like Tom and Jerry, like they're not like masterworks of writing, but they know that they're cartoons, so, like, obviously, as a cartoon, you're gonna enjoy that, and like with Sound Help, it's like that for me. Is that like that cartoonishness is there? So like it doesn't have to go like deep, deep, deep into the script. It just had to be like that kind of movie, and it was that kind of movie for me.
So why was it so elongated though? Like, why were
Yeah.
there so many boring stretches? Like, it wasn't some like, "Oh, we don't care about it, we're gonna go." Because I love Drag Me to Hell, and that's exactly
Mhm.
what that movie was. It knew it wasn't deep,
Yeah.
and it focused on that, and it was just an entertaining blast for most of it. And this, I'm like, I was bored. It was like trying to develop characters, but again, they're cartoony. It was the worst middle ground you could
Mm.
Yeah.
possibly ask for aside from her performance, which was a better than the script.
At least Tom and Jerry, relies on constant slapstick,
Mm.
and then it's never ending where, it's like a constant cycle. But which I guess this movie was also trying to do, but I don't know.
But this wasn't some batshit movie, you know?
Yeah,
This what to
exactly.
me at least, it wasn't
Yeah.
some like sorry to interrupt, but I think like
No,
I'm
I
trying to
agree.
articulate, I think what we
Yeah.
both agree on here is it's
Mhm.
not some batshit movie. It's not some like
Mhm.
balls to the wall. That's I would have been fine with that. It didn't need to
Yeah.
have the most powerful ending, but I'm like, give me the goods then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't hold back.
Mm.
It's like Sam Raimi, it's like, well, he's holding back because this is intelligent and it's something beyond, and it's not. So I'm like, why are you not giving me the Sam Raimi-ness? Why are you I mean, I guess they did, like you're saying, in some parts, but not nearly
Mm.
enough and not really in the best way. I thought the boar scene, by the way, not trying to get too far off track,
Yeah.
was people praise it, but and
Okay,
maybe it was
I
'cause
thought
it's
that
so
boar
scattered,
scene
but
is
it was so many vomit. It wasn't like, I don't want vomit, I want
Oh,
craziness.
no, the vomit is fine.
A little vomit's fine, but I'm like, "That's all you have to offer?" Like, what did that boar scene even add to the film besides I guess it was growth for a character, like, she can kill.
Yeah, she's turning, like, more psycho, and she needed to get out of her shell, and, like, she's, like, kinda getting
Yeah.
baptized by blood, and I think that's where I think for me, the like, kinda the fakiness that works for me works, because like, yeah, you learn about these characters, but, like, you learn about these characters only to just, see them rounded out and not in, like, a way to explore them, but just a way to understand where they're coming from, but not entirely, like trying to dig into there. And for the way that Rachel McAdams talks, like it's more her just slowly revealing how not fully there she is.
I think you just articulated my problem with the word slowly revealing. This is a
Mm,
film with cartoony characters, like you were saying, that
yeah.
are somewhat realistic, but also not, and it is not some profound, you know it plays into what I'm saying about, like, go all the way or go home because I was left with the ground where they're acting like it's this slow burn thing where you don't know what's going to happen, but then you get to it and it's the most
Mhm,
cliched and generic thing you've ever seen.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
don't understand what was the point of not being full Sam Raimi? What was the point of not having a lot of crazy stuff happen until later on, but even then, like
mm,
what was the point? It was almost 2 hours. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it was trying to have it both ways in a way that didn't work for either direction for
mm.
me.
I
And
get
don't
that.
get me started on the
Yeah.
house in the 3rd act.
Straight out of Triangle of Sadness.
I have not seen this movie, but I did read a review saying there were several disturbing parallels. Triangle of Sadness is a much deeper social commentary.
Okay. The thing with Triangle of Sadness is it kind of whiplashes between the type of commentary that is,
I
which I think
see.
like some ways works, but some ways it doesn't, and I think that's what I found more entertaining. I wouldn't say it's a better movie. I think overall Triangle of Sadness is better, but like for me, I found this more entertaining because like it focused on one aspect of Triangle of Sadness instead of trying to combine the two aspects of Triangle of Sadness that it doesn't really fully do successfully. And
Yeah.
I guess, like, I wouldn't say this is a slam dunk, but, like, I felt like it's just that extended sequence of the 3rd part of Triangle of Sadness. I wouldn't say the 3rd act because like, each act of each part of Triangle of Sadness has its own, like, beginning, middle, and end,
I
but,
see.
like, that final section of Triangle of Sadness was a whiplash from the middle section, but you don't have
I
that
see.
whiplash in Send Help, which I thought was more entertaining.
I got extreme whiplash a little bit in a weird way. With the house, it kinda undercut her entire so, if you haven't seen this movie and you're just listening to this podcast without watching it, she finds on the island this house, and we
Yeah.
don't realize she found the house. But then it cuts back and it tells us, "We didn't show you she found a house." Which made no sense because she
Surprise.
was a good survivor. She was knowledgeable. The only thing she seemingly got from the house was a knife, as far as I'm aware, and some water. So I did but she had found a way to make water herself from rain. So I it didn't make any sense. I
Yeah.
was like, what is this trying to show? It just undercuts her character.
Yeah.
And but it's not a good enough turn of like, "Oh, she was a faker all along," because she did do all these survival things. She wasn't faking.
Yeah, it just wants to have it both ways. Um,
Hmm.
and I know it's kinda like Lost, which I have not seen, but, also ends really stupidly, so I've heard.
It also made it seem like the movie ran out of budget and they had to instead rewrite the final act or the final confrontation into
What?
this house so that they could film it cheaper or something. Like, it was bizarre.
There's enough hints that, like, she's trying to hide something from him, like
Yeah, but she was trying to hide the people trying to find him.
Yeah.
yeah, but, like, it's clear that she was also trying to hide something else because like, she was like, "Don't go to the X location."
But what was she really hiding? A house and some water?
Yeah, she was because that's contact to the outside world that she was trying to prevent
Where
him
was
from
the
finding out.
contact, though? I guess there was the people working in the house, like that I understand, like that type of contact on the boats.
But then, like, if he realizes that there's an actual house there, then that means he knows that, like, it's technically, like, a place where people live, you know?
Yeah,
And
I
which
think
it
I just don't get
is!
why they treated it like a reveal. I'd rather have had her find the house in real time in the movie, and then it escalates the conflict if she has to try to stop him from finding the house. Instead, it's like a twist that she's not a survivor, even though she is. And it's like she found the water, even though she made her own water that was drinkable. But it didn't. I was confused.
It was it was for him to, like, not find out that, like, there's society, like, rights across the ravine, basically, is
I think they, to me, my thing is they already established that with the boats, though. And then the house thing was saved for later on like it was a twist, but we already knew there was society in terms of people going around on boats, trying to find him,
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
thing where she kills the fiance,
hmm.
so it didn't add anything. It was like, there's a house.
No, like, it didn't show that society was there, it's just showing that there was, like, a search party there, and that was, like,
Well,
what
I
you're
don't know if
supposed to
there was
believe.
society. It looked like it was a house on a private island.
But, like,
Yeah,
it
they
was easy access to contact to the outside world, you know?
But we already knew that via the ships. So that's what
yeah.
my
But
thing
no,
is.
but the ships were a search party, so if the search party left, then, like, you wouldn't be able to contact them again.
Yeah, so I think if they showed the house in real time, it would have added tension, but instead treating it like a reveal was the problem.
Hmm.
It was like it was this twist that wasn't a twist, and I'm like, it coulda added tension throughout because of what you're saying, but instead it was like some weird half-baked reveal that didn't really reveal much. It was underwhelming and weird.
I
I
agree.
understand what you're saying now, but I'm like, it didn't fit when they revealed it. It wasn't like it was weird the way they did it.
But the point okay, let me try to finish my point instead of repeating the same thing over again. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that the rescue vote was like a one-time thing, but the house was like a entire throughout the journey of their stay on the island. Like that was always there. They could have always gone there, but she said like no, like the entire time. But like with a boat is like a one-time thing of her saying no. But then like you realize like oh she could have like just gone back to society anytime she chose, but she decided not to.
I didn't think that added anything.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
And it felt like a cliche, like, it almost felt like a 3rd act just so they could get in the
Yeah.
house with the golf clubs
Mm.
and
Mhm.
film on a cheaper set that was a house.
Is it entirely
I just
cheaper?
yes, than having to design all these trees and a set, CGI backgrounds, and it was like Last of Us 2, spoiler, sorry,
Hmm.
but not good.
Anyway, your
I guess that's
final
more of
thoughts?
a
They kept cutting away from the gore, like, even with the golf club, I'm like, "This is rated R, why are you fucking cutting away?"
because it had a creative transition.
It was terrible, it was like
What? That was a
it
great
was a terrible
transition.
transit no.
Okay, I think we're saying the same things, but we're
Yeah,
just saying, "I like this," and "I don't like it."
yeah,
And I
it's
feel like
all a matter of taste.
yeah, I think this is just tastes.
It offended me, it made me pissed off. I'm like, "I know what he's capable of, all these critics are like, Sam Raimi is back." I'm like, "You fucking didn't even clearly see these other films by him, and you're saying this is the best
You
without
haven't seen
comparing?" I'm
Ash
like, "How
versus
can
the
you?"
Evil Dead, though.
Even though I haven't seen every single movie, I've seen other movies, and that's the thing I'm saying. I haven't even seen all of his movies, and I can already say this is not his best at all.
No one's
And
saying
I
it's his
haven't even seen
best.
every other film. I just had to see, like, one other horror film he did, just one, to know that, you know? That's my point.
And before you repeat yourself again, no one's saying that it's his best work, it's just a work that is his, that's not, Multiverse of Madness, you know?
But it wasn't his, he didn't write it.
But it still had his style and, like, it still had
No,
his
that's my
themes.
A
exact
little bit,
problem, it didn't.
yeah.
Very tiny.
Anyway,
Anyways,
Anyway,
I think we're
sorry.
just going in circles.
this is very off topic, but I learned on the Tom and Jerry Wikipedia page that there's one episode where they're sitting on the railroad tracks with the intent of suicide while the whistle of an oncoming train is heard, foreshadowing their imminent death.
Sounds like
So
a certain other movie that we talked about.
yeah, today I learned. Today I
Yeah. Maybe Tom and Jerry out captures all aspects of human life, you know?
learned. Yeah, it says something deep about the human
Yeah.
condition. Unlike
All right. Final thoughts before we compare these two movies and go into box office game.
I think this movie is way overhyped. It feels like a low PG-13. Rachel McAdams is innocent and amazing. Um,
Mhm,
Everything else, it did not bring the Sam Raiminess that I wanted, and
Mm.
oddly, I feel like Multiverse of Madness was closer to what I wanted, even though it wasn't fully what I wanted, but it was closer than this. So, Oz was worse, but way more entertaining. This had nothing besides Rachel McAdams going for it for me. 4 out of 10.
with Multiverse of Madness, I went in with the expectation that it was gonna be some shitty superhero sequel elevated by Sam Raimi's direction, which it was. It
Wasn't
fulfilled
it?
my expectations. At least for me.
The Wanda sequences and stuff were way more horror than anything in this movie for me.
Yeah, the dead Doctor Stranges and stuff. But yeah, with this movie, I think it just could have done so much more with its premise. And I wanted to see Unleashed.
Mm.
Um and also I think the score, at least for me, was kind of symptomatic of the larger ills where it just wasn't anything special. So 6 out of 10.
All right. Well, I, unlike you guys, thought this was a fun film. Unlike Multiverse of Madness, which was like needlessly complicated. Like this had like a simple premise of a hardworking gal slowly turning into the monster that her boss was to survive in the world that she lived in. And it's not top tier Raimi or anything like that, but I thought it was a fun time at the movies. Mm, yeah, that's my thoughts, but comparing this movie to The Gray, um, you know, both were I think both were plane crash movies, obviously. I think both had a lot to say about the nature of capitalism, but
Mhm. Mhm.
while this movie was a bit more tongue in cheek in the way it handled things and the way that it was like singular minded on corporatism specifically, I thought The Gray overall was like a much better commentary on capitalism while having less capitalism in it because
Yeah,
it just had like a bleak view on how the society that we live in treats us as human beings, and that just felt much more heartfelt.
agreed. And also the natural or wilderness aspects of the gray where with the wolves and the wolf pack we actually kind of get a somewhat deep explanation of like the alpha and the omega and all the group dynamics there that reveal that the wolves actually are not, I mean, they are animals, but they also have a lot going on, which is more than meets the eye. Like, they're not just killing machines. With Send Help, there wasn't a lot of that. Like, the island was just a backdrop, a soundstage. The Wild Boar was just a wild
I'm pretty
boar.
sure it was an actual location because they had units in Thailand. So
I guess it's true, but, it was no White Lotus.
yeah,
The White Lotus
but
is in 4.
So good.
But, yeah, I think it just at least in terms of how it used its environment, I liked The Gray more.
yeah, I do have to agree with that. Even though I think the fake aspect to Sun Help does kind of fit in with the themes of the plot of Sun Help, I guess, where like this is not a real wilderness environment. This is like some rich guy's island. Oh, ooh, rich guy's island, which is
Oh,
kind
god.
of in the news.
Oh,
Uh,
no.
recently removed Pokestop, I might add.
Jesus Christ.
Uh, anyways, back on topic. uh, yeah, I think the fakeness in the movie is intentional, but the way the realness of the environment in the gray does add more to the gray than the fakeness of the island does to Sun Help.
Harder hitting.
hmm Jack, do you want to compare these films or?
I didn't love either, but I will give it to The Gray because nothing made me upset about it. I was indifferent. I didn't feel the same way y'all did, but I wouldn't advise people like don't watch this if you're intrigued to check it out, you know?
Mhm.
I think have a backup, but it's like I wasn't offended at all, you know? But with Send Help, I think it's worse because Rachel McAdams was better than anything in The Gray, but the rest really made me upset of what could have been.
Mhm. Mhm.
And watch it if you love Rachel McAdams, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shall we jump into the box office game?
Let's go.
We shall.
Okay, we are doing this weekend or around this weekend in the past, February 17th through
The
19th.
weekend after the Super Bowl.
Starting with the first film, number 1, by Universal Pictures and Denzel Washington.
Equalizer?
Oh.
No.
Unstoppable.
No.
Denzel. The Equalizer 2.
Not the
Wait, I feel like those movies are like post 2015,
I would have
honestly.
given it to you. I'm not gonna be that picky over.
Wait, is it The Equalizer?
No.
Oh.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, he said no initially.
With Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Hitman's
And
Bodyguard? No.
and Matthew, your favorite, Banshees of Inisherin.
Wait,
Brendan
Brendan
Gleeson?
Gleeson?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Is this a Michael Bay movie?
No, and I've never heard of this director before.
Oh,
Oh,
wait.
they did Morbius. The
Oh,
director.
Oh,
Jesus.
God.
It's
Oh,
that
I
guy.
remember seeing this movie before on like, I can't. Is it like a one-word title?
2-word title.
Two-word title.
American Gangster.
No,
No.
I'm
that's
gonna just
Michael
give it
Mann.
away. I don't even know if I haven't heard of this movie. Safe House.
Safe.
Also
Yeah.
with
Oh.
Robert Patrick, Vera Farmiga. I don't know. A young CIA agent is tasked with looking after a fugitive in a safe house, but when the safe house is attacked, he finds himself on the run with his charge. Safe
Oh.
House.
Today I learned.
I think I searched for this movie once because we needed something for February, but we ended up not doing it. So
Thank God.
thank
Okay.
God.
Number 2, and it's in its second weekend, a film with Rachel McAdams.
Oh, is it a
Oh, wow.
rom-com?
Maybe it's romantic for sure.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't think comedy, but for all I know,
It's
you could claim it's
about
that.
time.
No,
The
Is
Notebook.
it a time travel movie?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Based on the synopsis.
Mean Girls.
A car accident puts Paige in a coma, and when she wakes
Oh.
up with severe memory loss, her husband Leo works to win her heart again with
Huh.
Channing Tatum.
What an anonymous weekend for movies.
I'll just say at this point, The Vow. I've never heard of it. Number 3, we have a movie that y'all will be able to guess.
All right.
It is a comic book property released by Sony in its first
Ah.
weekend.
Ooh, Sony.
Oh.
is
It
not
made
Spider-Man.
$22 million in its opening weekend. Actually, sorry, no. Wait, yeah. No, yeah. I second guess myself. Yeah, 22 million in its first weekend, and it's PG-13.
Wow. It's pretty low, honestly.
This weekend.
Yeah, this is not
Oh.
necessarily a well-beloved movie,
Oh boy.
but it
Kick
has someone who is
Kick-Ass
well-beloved.
2?
Can you guess who is the main star?
Nick
Uh,
Cage?
It's someone we had a semi-heated discussion about today
Today. Whoa. Conan
and in the
O'Brien?
past. Oh, no.
Is it Jonah Hex? No, that would be Warner Brothers.
Close-ish.
Oh,
It's Marvel.
Okay, Sony Marvel. That's not Spider-Man.
what the hell?
This was
Is it-
before they were doing Morbius and stuff like that. What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
This is
This was
wild.
the OG badness.
It's not Catwoman.
Oh, Ghost Rider.
Yes.
Spirit of
Uh,
Vengeance.
Spirit of Vengeance.
Yes.
Nice.
Nick Cage was who I was referring to.
Yeah.
Nice.
I did ask Nick Cage. though.
You
said
did?
Nick
I didn't
Cage.
hear you
Yeah.
say.
Okay, whatever. Let's move on.
Number 4, we have a movie with that's a sequel,
Sequel.
and you know it.
It came out this weekend.
Yes, and it came out. This is his second weekend for this one.
Second weekend. This came out the week
It's
before.
PG
Ice.
and has the number that it has for its sequel. It like doubles as a pun
Shrek the Third.
ish in a totally cringe way.
Ice Age Continental Drift.
No, think of a number like in the title.
3. Wait, is this the
Okay.
third movie?
No, it's the second.
Second.
Think of a thing
2.
with 2 in the title. That
Squared.
might be a dumb pun.
Squared.
Okay, it stars a famous action star. Famous comedic
Schwarzenegger?
action star. Close,
Stallone.
but more modern.
Jason Statham.
Close.
The Rock?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Wait, I think
What the
and this
hell?
is an animated
Experience
film?
it in 3D.
2012. The Rock. Animated movie or family?
Live action.
Live okay, that was throwing me off. Okay, live action The Rock movie in 2012.
Escape from which mountain?
Think of the opposite of that title and you kind of have it.
Return to Fairy Valley.
Can I just say it?
Two.
Yeah, go ahead.
Journey to
Oh,
Mysterious Island.
Of course, Journey.
Journey
The
Oh,
Journey.
that's
I didn't realize
bad.
that was a pun
That's
until
rough.
now.
Well, yeah,
That
they
is
used the
rough.
2 as a 2.
That is
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until now.
Yeah, and I'm looking through the rest, and there's not much to say.
Wait, is that number 4?
That was number 4.
Okay, what's number 5?
Something I've never heard of.
Can we guess the star?
Yes. There's 3 stars, according to the poster.
Can you give us a hint on what the stars are?
Someone also related to Sony superheroes.
Andrew Garfield?
Worse, like bad.
Jamie Foxx.
Close, actually, close in more ways than one.
Jared Leto.
Close.
Michael Keaton?
Tom Hardy.
Further?
Yes.
Tom Hardy.
Oh, Tom Hardy. Is this like
someone from DC
DC
superheroes?
Jason Momoa?
WW.
Chris
for the
Pine?
guy. Yes. With
Tom
Reese Witherspoon.
What is this? Is this like a rom-com?
I guess.
Never heard of this movie in my life.
What is
This
this
means
movie?
war.
Oh.
I don't know what it is. I don't know, man.
I think I've
Directed
heard
by
of that.
someone named MCG.
MCG.
McGee?
Oh,
McGee,
that
I
guy.
guess.
I forgot that was a person that existed.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyways,
let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts on these 2 movies?
I liked The Gray more, even though I didn't like it, because it didn't offend me. There was nothing terrible about that movie. I am glad it meant a lot more to you too. And if you're listening to this, maybe give it a shot because clearly I'm in the minority here.
Yeah.
Um, it was inoffensive to me. I give it a 5 out of 10, but it's not like I have that much bad things to say about it. Send Help, I was disappointed by, and I just wanted more of an effort. I feel like it was, besides Rachel McAdams, who gave it her all, it felt a little cheap to me and unearned.
Yeah, I probably never would have watched The Gray if not for this podcast. And for that, I must thank this podcast. And Liam Neeson for a delightful time. I should catch Drag Me to Hell now that we've praised it so much. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's not a perfect movie, but it's just so much more entertaining and high effort than this.
Well, I think The Gray is a fantastic underrated gem, and you guys should definitely check that out. But you heard us talk about Sun Help. We basically said everything about Sun Help, so based on what you heard, go form your own opinion or not.
There's only one way to find out. But yeah, thank y'all for listening. As usual, please, if you have any comments, anything you'd like to share with us. And as usual, if you want to reach us, feel free to reach out on social at Movies Met Pod on, Insta, X, TikTok, if you like TikTok, and Blue Sky. Or reach out on whenmoviesmetmovies@gmail.com. And we'll see y'all next week where we are discussing Bart Layton's Crime 101 and the acclaimed Golden Bear winning film Caesar Must Die. Take care, y'all, and bye-bye.